Hi, my name is Chris. I am running for County Commissioner, and thank you for visiting the site. This video is a little explanation about a theory that I've constructed called the wave. You might have heard of it. It's from the title The Third Wave, by a book by Alvin Toffler, who talked about a change in society that permeates every element. And I've combined this with a number of other authors to come up with this diagram. You started out with a reality, that's the triangle. Now an action, that's the arrow, destroyed that reality. Then you have this medium between a new reality that's forming and the old reality, called a discontinuity. Now in that discontinuity, you can see elements of the new reality forming, and you know they're forming, you just don't know what they are, because you can see you're wet from inside a rainstorm, but you don't really understand how much rain is falling until after the fact. So I'm going to give you three examples of these transitions in society, the three waves, or the three realities, 2 waves, 3 realities, and then I'm going to propose that we're in a third wave going into a fourth reality. Starting, you have the pre-agricultural people. They're nomadic, tribal, kinship-based peoples. They value mobility. That's their only concept of wealth, is mobility. This transitioned when somebody planted a seed into the agricultural world, where land was the key to power instead of mobility. Now, in the pre-agricultural world, an estate, a standing house, a place with walls, a fortified structure, didn't have a lot of value because you're going to leave it and go somewhere else. But in here, you have a sedentary lifestyle. So land is the key to population and production, wealth, and power. Now, there were several movements that moved backwards on this. Okay, the biggest and most successful one was the Mongols. They decided to use force, military force, and kill 13% of the world's population because their idea of wealth didn't have anything to do with land. It had mobility. They valued ponies. So they went into northern China and slaughtered 40 million people because they valued ponies and they wanted grazing grounds for ponies. Now, when the agricultural transition into industry, there's a lot of debate over when this happened, so I'm not going to peg something on it, but the new realities of the industrial world were collectivization, standardization, and centralization. Where if you have a whole bunch of people performing standardized functions in one single place, that's the key to production, wealth, power. That reality was here. I would argue that the advent of the internet and of present-day communications technology destroyed the industrial reality. We're now here, in the middle of this, we're in a storm, basically, in a transition between an information age and an industrial reality. So we have a choice. We can be either forward or backward, and this is how I classify politicians. You have forward politicians, or you have backward politicians. Now, what does that mean? Backward politicians mean force, and force in any aspect. Government cannot drive change. It's impossible. Whenever you have the government driving change, they want to lop off a piece of the triangle and just transfer it over here, because that's what they want the future to be, something that they deemed good. Now, you have a whole bunch of liberal academic faculty saying that we need a service sector economy because they didn't like the manufacturing of the industrial world. They had a disrespect for the union guy. So they want to say, let's eliminate that and just have a service economy and put it over here. But their idea of that is backward because they're existing they're trying to transfer over previously existing thought models, which fundamentally doesn't work. So backwards politicians want to use force to do things with the government. This is a backwards idea. Now, there's a place for that, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. Forward-thinking politicians want to free people up to make their own realities. These are your conservatives and your libertarians. First one being Barry Goldwater. Second one really being Ronald Reagan. They have, Newt Gingrich in Republican Revolution in 1994, where we transfer, we were here in the 1970s. Nothing worked in the 1970s. For the last basically 40 years, we've been in this area where everyone's in pain. From the top to the bottom, everyone is in pain. Big problem. It's like if you're running a marathon and you're hurting. That pain is evidence of running a marathon. The pain is evidence that we're in the discontinuity. Now this is transferring into a new reality. Now, I'm proposing that we have to free people up to make this new reality, because individuals drive the change. You and I get cell phones. Cell phones are provided to us by corporations, which are just organizations of individuals to provide a service. Government has no place in there. Government is a fundamentally backwards organization. So I'm arguing that we have to get the government's hands off of things so we can drive progress and get to the new reality, so we can have a good a standard of living comparative to China and India, because they're moving much faster this way, because they have a more free industry than we do. They're moving much faster this way just simply because their citizens are more free to make business decisions. So how does this apply to the county commission campaign? Mr. Kavaga and a number of the other commissioners believe in planning. They signed this McKenna planning report, which I think McKenna does Detroit's planning, which brings me to the point that if planning worked, if going backwards worked, Detroit, a city with a 52% U6 unemployment rate, Detroit would be a successful city if planning worked. Houston, on the other hand, doesn't have public planning, and it's the most successful city in America. Two realities, forward and backward. So I hope you'll vote for me to permit our county to begin to move forward, because you'll see the solutions revolution. I'm proposing a number of things a number of ways we can take the government and shrink its influence into the business sector. So I'm going to post a couple of other videos on, politics and explaining politics, and in explaining government and explaining the actions of government. So I hope you'll watch those, and I hope you'll keep coming back to the site to check for updates. So thank you. Again, my name is Chris Wicker, and I'm running for County Commission. Thank you.